All right, hey David, this is Chase McAnally with Peregrine Motors. Just wanted to go over a couple things with you on the Series 3. Wanted to show you, just put in a brand new battery this morning, so that's all good there. I topped off the coolant in the radiator. It was right at the fin, so I just topped it off to bring it up. And I also topped off the reservoir tank. And then I also brought up the brake fluid. It was at the low line, so I brought it up to the high line as well. As you can see, looking in the radiator, I would definitely say I would, before doing any extensive driving, I would do a radiator flush. There's just, I think the radiator's old, and you can see there's just like some brown in the radiator. And there was also some brown in the radiator tank as well. So I would definitely probably go for a flush. If I were you, oil level was good on it. Could probably use a change fairly soon. And then I was gonna show you right here, where is it? There is some, you were asking about rust. There is some rust behind the clutch. I don't forget if it's the slave or the master cylinder right back there. And then, the bulkhead looks pretty good overall. I mean, you can see that in the video that I sent you. There is a crack in this air hose right here, which brings in the air from here into the air box. So that's something that would probably want to be remedied at some point. But besides that, she starts up and runs good. Let's see, what else was I going to show you? I'll just do another view of the chassis for you. And you get some surface rust there, but nothing terrible in my opinion. You had some rust on that, the headlight, but overall the wings and everything looks pretty good. You were asking about the freewheeling hubs. I'm not an expert on these, but they do turn into 4x4 and 4x2. I'll go over the chassis a little more with you. This part of the chassis has been painted, that I can see, but there's the outrigger. You get some surface rust on the floor pans. Got some surface rust on that rear outrigger right there. Moving back to the back of the cab, let's see in here. And I know that I had mentioned it had a new rear half chassis, which I believe starts right there, from the welding marks. Exhaust tailpipe does look rusty, as well as the pipe leading up to the muffler. I'll show you inside here too. You do have some rust right there, and then there is also some rust on those. I forgot what they call those, but you can see it right there. Get under here. There's the fuel filler neck. There's the chassis. Trying to give you as good of an idea as I can of the car itself. That rear outrigger looks good. Looks like it's had a patch on that part of the chassis, or right there at some point. As well as there, it looks like. I'll show you the front, and then I'll show you underneath the engine as well. There is obviously corrosion on the back of the headlight right there. Show you this, that turns freely. And of course, there's the original chassis number. And then, let's see, I'll get underneath, show you the front. Looks like that's had a plate right there on the front of the chassis at some point. as well as the other side up over here, which is to be expected for a car of this age. Let me go ahead and close the hood. Bulkhead on the outside looks solid. You got a little bit of, you know, surface rust right there that's kind of leaked through. But I think it looks good for the year. And then let's see, let me get in and I'll fire her up, and I wanted to kind of go through what works and there's a few things that don't work. Something that is going to need attention that I've noticed is the driver's door. I think just needs to be readjusted, because if you give it like a good hard push, it will pull in more, but you know, once you start it up, it does kind of pop out like that. So I think the door just needs to either where it catches in here needs to be adjusted, or this needs to be adjusted. It just needs to be adjusted. Coming into the cab, looking at the floor pans, they look pretty good. I mean, there's some surface rust down there. You get some surface rust on the springs. There is some surface rust right there, and then on there. Just wanted to show you every bit, so that way you have a good idea of the vehicle. There is some surface rust on that floor pan. And so hopefully you'll be able to hear me once I start it. So if not, then you can call me later. All right, so turning her on. Fires right up, off the key. I did drive it down the road, put some fresh gas in it, and put some fuel stabilizer in it as well. So over here, we have the choke. Choke does work. Push that back in. Actually, it might be, it's either the choke or the air fuel mixture for cold starts. So we'll start with right here, we have the windshield washers. As you can see, those work on the first speed, and I think it's just one speed. And then if you push in on this, it gets it all pretty, and then you turn it, and then it cleans that for you. Horn does not work. Pushing the horn, probably a simple electrical issue. In my opinion, not that big of a deal, but did want to make you aware of it. I believe this illuminates the light for the speedometer at night. I can't really tell if that's working or not. It's just a couple, like I think it's one or two bulbs that's back there. So I'll show you this is the heat. That's the first speed, second speed. That does blow air out of there. Obviously you can't see it, but it is blowing, and it is blowing hot. What I did notice is, so you do push it up for the defrost setting, it's not blowing the air out of the defrost on either side. Again, I think that would be a fairly simple fix. You put it back on the car side, and still it's just blowing hot air down here. So I will turn that off by putting it in the upright position, and then I will show you the headlights and turn signals. You push it down once for the headlights, and I will get out and I'll show you all that. So we have both headlights working, and then the parking lights, I believe that's what they're called. Both of those are working. Come around to the back. You got the rear right brake light working, rear left brake light working. You can look at the exhaust. There's no smoke coming out of it. I will say, on a cold start, when you're engaging, whether it's the choke or the air fuel ratio mixture, it does have some smoke on start off, and then once you push that back all the way in, once you've started it, that clears up pretty quick. So let's do the turn signals. The right hand side, you have this flashing, that flashing. There is the right turn signal flashing. there is the rear right turn signal flashing. Now we go back in, turn on the left-hand side. Now it flashes over here, it's not flashing there, and the reason for that is we have the left rear flashing, but the left front is not flashing. So I'm assuming that's either a fuse or a minor electrical issue. Again, in my opinion, not that big of a deal. Should be a relatively simple fix. So I'll push that back up, turn the lights off, and then I will show you four-wheel drive being engaged. So having a neutral, push down, so all the way down. Engaged, put it back in neutral, throw it in for low, that pops that out, it's in for low. Oh, I gotta put it in gear to move forward. There we go. I was wondering why it wasn't moving. Alright, so that moved. Put it back in neutral, have the clutch in, and then that's pops back up. And of course, you push down, pull it back, that pops back up, and then pull it forward, you're back in two-wheel drive. So yeah, hopefully that gives you a pretty good idea of what the car is, and I'll send this over to you shortly.